Yo, good morning, folks. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at in the world. It's Terrence Bain here. Welcome to the Definition of Anarchy channel, where I'm going to bring you some news in regards to a new Modelo 19 strain going through the UK right now, okay? And it's very important what I have to talk about with this particular strain, because what they're saying is that it affects young people the most. Okay, it affects young people the most. Now let's get into this article, and then I'm going to dive into what they're saying. I'm going to read between the lines, connect some dots, and then we'll go from there. Okay, we'll prove the Hegelian dialectic is at work. All right, so now this is from Bloomberg. Okay, this is a Bloomberg News article, YouTube. So I'm going to read straight from here. All right, I am going to mix some words around, Modelo 19, this, that, and the third. Okay. So when you hear Modelo 19, you know what we're talking about. We're not talking about the drink. We're talking about, what we're talking about. All right. Faster spreading Modelo strain affects young the most, study says. Now, this is a study. All right. The new Modelo virus variant that emerged in the UK is more transmissible and appears, listen for these words here, appears to affect a higher proportion of people under 20. And what does it mean by affect? We'll see. According to the report from Imperial College London and other science groups. Okay, so I'm gonna finish this article, then we're gonna get into that report a little bit. The mutation of concern has a substantial transmission advantage and is linked to epidemic growth in nearly all areas, the scientist wrote. It can raise the virus's reproduction rate, which indicates how many people one patient infects, by as much as 0.7, the researchers found. This will make control more difficult and further accentuates the urgency of rolling out the hokey pokey as quickly as possible, said Neil Ferguson, a professor at Imperial who has worked on modeling the outbreak. Social distancing measures that worked against earlier strains of the virus were insufficient to control the spread of the new variant, the study found. The government had previously said that the new strain was as much as 70% more transmissible than other strains. 70%, that's significant. Without providing documentation. Without providing any proof of this assertion. They're just saying it. You know what I mean? This is how they get down, by the way. The researchers used statistical tools to evaluate the link between transmission and frequency of the new variant across the UK. The data have informed the government's pandemic planning in recent weeks, Ferguson said. So they're basing their planning off of this research, off of these models based on this new variant, okay? That's why they're locked down again in the UK. They're saying, oh, it affects young people, this, that, and the third. Doesn't say how. Doesn't say if it's more dangerous or more infectious or it makes you more sick or kills more readily. It doesn't say any of that. It just says affects, whatever that means. You can draw your own conclusion from that. And that's it, right? So real quick, let's get into this report a little bit. Okay. We're going to dive into this report and see like what the heck. So report 42, transmission of Modelo 2 lineage B.1.1.7 in England. Insights from linking epidemiological and genetic data. All right. So let's get into the summary. I'm going to read the summary, and that's about as far as I'm going to go. All right. Now, the Modelo 19 lineage B.1.1.7, now designated variant of concern 2021, variant of concern 202012/01 VOC by Public Health England, originated in the UK in late summer to early autumn of 2020. We examine epidemiological evidence for this VOC having a transmission advantage from several perspectives. First, whole genome sequence data collected from the community-based diagnostic testing provides an indication of changing prevalence of different genetic variants through time. Phylogenetic modeling additionally indicates that genetic diversity of this lineage has changed in a manner consistent with exponential growth. Second, we find that that changes in the VOC frequency inferred from genetic data corresponded closely to changes inferred by S gene target failures in community-based diagnostic PCR testing. Third, we examine growth trends in SGTF, which is the S gene target failures, and non-SGTF cases numbers at local area level across England, and show that the VOC has higher transmissibility than non-VOC lineages, even if the VOC has a different latent period or generation time. Available SGTF data indicate a shift in age composition of reported cases, with a larger share under 20-year-olds among reported VOC and non-VOC cases. So they're basically saying that this here variant, the B.1.1.7, which is now designated VOC, right? When I say VOC, they're talking about variant of concern. They're saying this is a variant of concern because it spreads through young people more quickly. And who's out and about more than, going to school, going to concerts, going to college? Well, people under 20. They're going to be out and about more than those 40, 50, 60 years old who essentially they stay their ass in the house due to this whole outbreak, like the government told them to, right? Like the experts told them to. All right. And basically, this report is not even a full report. It's just showing. Hold on. You can download the full report. You can download the full report from this link, right? So basically, they're saying that because, it affects whatever that means, right? Because from what I understand, anybody can carry this thing, but not everyone has to have, symptoms, or they don't get sick, or not much happens to them. And so it was spread anyway, right? Of course it's going to spread. If more people than not are asymptomatic when they get this stuff, then of course it's going to spread fast. But what they're saying here is that the young people are affected more. It doesn't, what affected in what way? That's what I want to know. I want to know in what way is it affected? Because does it make them sicker? Do they show symptoms more with this variant? The abstract. Let's go into the abstract, which is basically the summary with a little bit more. All right, so now I can continue on now that I downloaded this thing. All right. So basically there is a consensus among all analysis that the VOC has a substantial transmission advantage and is estimated difference in reproduction numbers between VOC and non-VOC ranging between 0.4 and 0.7, and the ratio of production numbers varying from 1.4 to 1 and 1.8. We note that these estimates of transmission advantage apply to a period where high levels of social distancing were in place in England. Extrapolation to other transmission contexts therefore requires caution. Now, what are they saying? They're saying that despite the the social distancing, the stay-at-home orders, this, that, and the third, this shit is still spreading, right? The variant of concern is still spreading like wildfire through England, through the UK. Social distancing is, guess what? Is not enough. Wearing a mask is not enough. Do you know what we need, right? Well, the hokey pokey. The hokey pokey is the only thing that's going to stop the spread of the Modelo 19. That's basically what they're getting to, and this is why they're going to push it real hard. Remember, it was 15 days to slow the spread. Then it turned into a whole freaking year, right? Oh, they say, well, social distancing and wearing masks, that'll help. It'll stop it. But now they're saying, oh, well, you know what? They're mutations. And these mutations are very resistant to masks. They're very resistant to social distancing. All this, that, and the third, right? And now it's going to young people. It's affecting young people more. So because it's affecting young people more, young people are out and about more and more and more and more. So that we just have to get this hokey pokey going so that we can get back to life, right? We're not going to go back to normal life unless we all get the hokey pokey. All right. And it affects young people more. So even the young people, oh, your strong immune system, this, that, and third, will not help you, may not help prevent getting the Modelo 19 hokey pokey. You understand what I'm saying? See how it's all comes about? It's always something new. They're going to continue to add on to this particular virus, this particular disease, the Modelo 19. They're going to ride this till the wheels fall off. You understand what I'm saying? And yes, it's not yet in the United States. And if you couple this knowledge with the knowledge of what this Chinese lady said on CNN, right? Remember the Chinese doctor, right? The one that moved to the United States when she was 8 years old and was talking about the carrot and how we need to dangle this carrot in front of the people. If you want your freedoms, then you must get the hokey pokey. Oh, there's already states opening 100%. And if we open our states 100%, how are we going to dangle this carrot? How are we going to incentivize people to go out and get the Modelo 19 if we're just giving people their freedoms back all willy-nilly? Oh, we can't do that. We can't give the people their freedoms back all willy-nilly. Look forward to this B.1.1.7 or whatever it is. I think they're already saying it's in the UK right now, right? But you know, don't be surprised if they say this thing hopped on over to the United States. B.1.1.7. You understand what I'm saying? So understand, there is a push like no other push for anything in the world to get these hokey pokeys into people. Okay, and I myself, I don't care what they say about the Modelo 19. I don't care if they say that it has a range of 20 miles now, right? Like it can travel 20 miles and still infect people. I don't care if they say, you know what I'm saying, it floats around like pollen, all right? Or it can ride on pollen, or if it can hop on the bees and make the bees sting. I don't care what they say about this Modelo 19. I am not going to get that hokey pokey. You understand what I'm saying? I myself, do what you want to do. I'm not urging you to do or not to do anything. I'm telling you what I'm not going to do. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I'm just giving you what I'm reading from the news. I'm giving you what I'm reading from this report. And to say that I don't trust these people would be an understatement. You understand what I'm saying? To say that I don't believe a word they say about any of this is an understatement. Do I believe that Modelo 19 exists? Sure. I mean, it might. You know, there's something going on because I do know people who have gotten sick supposedly from this Modelo 19, and they've been sick like they've never been sick before, much like myself, right? I don't know I don't know how they achieve that, but I do know certain things line up. Certain events occur that line up to what this Modelo 19 thing is doing. When this Modelo 19, there's a lot of things correlating. Now, correlation is not necessarily causation, but I like to look, I like to be paranoid about this type of stuff. I like that I am a conspiracy theorist about this type of shit, because it helps me separate myself from government rule and government dependency, right? If I'm so paranoid and so many conspiracy theories about the government, then I understand that I'll be more equipped to live without the government if ever that day came, right? I would my mental, I wouldn't be so shocked. My cognitive dissonance would not scramble my brain when shit finally comes to fruition that people have been saying for years. My conspiracy theorist paranoid mind has prepared me for the worst. You understand what I'm saying? I'm always thinking about what I can do if something happens. If the grid goes down, if the government decides to turn up the tyranny full tilt, if there's an earthquake, if there's zombies, whatever the case may be, I am prepared mentally for anything that may come. And that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing, because it's better to look at it than look for it. You understand what I'm saying? When the shit hits the fan, you don't want to look for it. You want to look at it. You understand what I'm saying? So, yeah. I'm drawing my own conclusions from this information about this variant and how they're pushing it, right? Oh, now it's the young people. This is going to affect the young people more. It's in the UK. You know, they say it's going to come on over here. They're going to say, oh, the young people, this, that, and the third. The younger people might start getting sicker. You know what I'm saying? I'm prepared for that. So I urge you guys to use your best judgment. Do your own due diligence. Vet your sources. Vet the information coming from people like me or anybody else. You might trust me to the fullest degree, but you shouldn't. You should always do your own research. Go through your own vetting process and make sure that the information you're getting is consistent and in line with what reality is. So, with that being said, I'm gonna holler at y'all later. And just so you know, those of you Californians, fellow Californians, there was a 4.0 earthquake in Orange County that rattled LA. So, in just a few days prior, last week, I think it was a Friday or a Thursday, there was an earthquake then. There was a big earthquake. I felt at the house. It was like early in the morning. These things are happening early in the morning. You understand what I'm saying? These little earthquake jolts happening early in the morning when your brain is foggy as shit. So, if you live in an earthquake-prone area, what you need to do is have you and your family need to drill what you need to do if the big one happens. Like if there's a big one and it starts really shaking and it's shaking for a long time, it's not really so much how hard it shakes, it's how long it shakes at that magnitude. So a 4.0 earthquake can be devastating if it shakes for a longer period of time. Because this morning it was like 4 o'clock in the morning. It was like 4:58 in the morning. And it shook. It was like one hard little brrr, right? And then it rattled for about 10-15 seconds. Now, if it had kept going for about a minute, because that can happen, up to a minute, it's going to cause more problems. And it's usually not the initial big earthquake that makes buildings fall. It's the subsequent aftershocks. So if you have an earthquake that's pretty big, right? It doesn't shake you out of your bed, but it wakes your ass up, and it lasts for like a minute, time to scramble, get out of that house. You know what I'm saying? Have everything you need already ready to go. Have backpacks for your kids with shit in it. You know what I'm saying? Have food supplies in your vehicles already, right? Have power sources in your vehicles already. What like I have a tiny little, it's like a generator about this big, It has a 200-watt receptacle on it. So if you had like a mini refrigerator or something like that and you needed to keep it going, whatever you need to do, because I tell you what, you're not going to have much access to your house if an earthquake knocks that sucker down. You understand what I'm saying? You might be able to dig through there, salvage through there, get what you need, but you definitely need to have your vehicles equipped with supplies and food, okay? With supplies and food. I got a truck back here with a truck bed. I can store stuff back there. You know what I'm saying? I already have, my emergency, I have a bug out bag back there. And I'm thinking about putting a box of MREs back there. But the only thing is, with the MREs is, it can get pretty hot back there. And it might, ruin my MREs a little bit faster than I would like. So, throw a cooler back there, boom, throw your MREs in there. That way, you don't need to put ice in there, but put a cooler back there with some MREs inside the cooler to insulate it from the heat. It like not to keep it cool, but just to insulate it from the heat in general. Get you a good cooler, a good solid cooler that's good quality, right? Not no little styrofoam igloo. You want to get like a Yeti or an RTIC or something like that. Anyway, like, share, subscribe. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Be ready, man, because we've got hit with 2 earthquakes within a week that were of a sizable magnitude. And, when I took my geology courses, they did. Now, these are different. These happen on 2 different faults, but where the big one's going to happen, you can have a big one on the Newport Inglewood fault. There's a Newport Inglewood fault you can have a pretty big one. But the San Andreas fault, the more small to moderate earthquakes you have there, the less tension there is, and the further out that big one's going to be. So what happens is you have sliding faults going like this. They're going like this, right? You have the fault, and they're just turning like they're going like that. The tectonic plates are shifting against each other. What happens is it might get hung up, right? It'll get hung up. And at some point, there's going to be so much pressure, it's going to break that tension, but it's going to be like a rubber band snapping. And that's when the big one comes. But if you have a bunch of tiny, to moderate size, jolts, then it's going to release some tension on that rubber band, so to speak. But anyway, be prepared, y'all. 2 sizable earthquakes in the last week. So I'll leave you with that. Like, share, subscribe. You guys go cop the book, The Seeds of Dark Matter Disease. Let me know what y'all think, man. A few more people have bought the book. I'm getting more reviews, and I'm at like 4.8, 4.9 stars out of 5. So the book is good. It's a good book. You know what I'm saying? Y'all let me know what y'all think. Y'all go cop that. And there'll be some prepping pointers in there as well. Like it's not a prepper's book, but the main character of the novel is a survivalist. So he'll have some shit that you can learn from it. Anyway, like, share, subscribe, and let's keep marching forward toward freedom. Peace.